Small
All right.
comment. I love how this is funny to see because I'm so used to seeing the cardboard cutout of Allie behind Tyler, and now Allie's like in person, which is like
I'm here.
it's like you came in real life. So no, it's cool to see you and have you on the cast. So
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, it was fun to talk about it with y'all last week. I always just am in the other room and I can hear you guys.
yeah, the cardboard cutout that always got me. I'm like, is Allie just sitting behind Tyler on the floor?
Pretty much. That's what I do all day.
Just listening in the background.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, hey, if you want to participate in the podcast, feel free to jump in.
Hey guys, welcome to Real Talk with Our Story is Your Legacy. Thank you for tuning in again this week as we go into episode 27 of the Rona series. Last week, we kind of jumped into more of a one question prompt that in the previous week as well. And we're kind of liking it, giving a little bit more time for people to really just talk and really dive into like one kind of question instead of having multiple questions to where we feel like we have to save some of our answer to or for a later question. So with that said, we're going to hop into today's topic, which is going to be a little bit tied to an emotional side of things for people. As 2020 winds down, we are in the last week of 2020. Today is the last Monday of 2020. Crazy to think about, but hey, we reached it. 2020 has been a hell of a year, but we're almost done until the sequel in 2021. So with that, as things wind down and we get to the new year, we are starting to look at resolutions or goals or whatever that might be. And one of the things that a lot of people don't always consider is just like their emotional wellness and their health. So today our topic is going to be tied to that, and we're going to kind of hop in with this question, which is, what are your boundaries with people, whether that be in relationships, friendships, whatever that may be? You know, what are your limits to a loved one or a friend? And really noticing, like, if there is toxic people in your life, how do you really cut them out? What boundaries do you have there? You know, what is your limit to really kind of cutting them out of your life and eliminating that negativity? But before we hop into the discussion part of our podcast, we're going to go around the table, check in to see who's here and who is not. I guess who's not. That doesn't really make sense, but we're going to hop around, see who's around the table, and see how they're doing today. I will hop over to Zavon first. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. It's nice to take a week off from work and recharge, especially before the new year. But nonetheless, it's the same shit every day. So, but we'll see what 2021 holds. I hope I abandon that saying, that platitude, if you will. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Good to hear from you, man. Hopefully, I think we're all hoping 2021 is a little different to where we don't have to say same shit, different day, but we'll see. We'll see. We can have hope. Steven, hopping over to you. How are you doing today, man?
Doing good, man. It's just a little tiresome coming from the holiday break, but it was a much quieter work day. So I'm kind of feeling smooth, if that's the right way to put it. You know, not too hectic, not too tired, not too energetic, just kind of like right in the middle, you know.
Yeah, kind of like that weight of the shoulders, or weight of the whatever was bothering you is off your shoulders, and you're just kind of coasting, you know.
Yeah, and that's the best way I could describe it, is feeling smooth.
Oh, it's a good way to describe it. Now, I know the feeling. Honestly, like, I think after all the holidays and stuff kind of came to an end, Allie can attest to it. I think everything, any sort of stress or whatever that we were dealing with during the holiday stuff, as soon as Christmas was over, it kind of just like, I don't know, for me, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was just exhausted the next day. I just like almost felt sick, but really I'm just done. Just going to lay around and do absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Sometimes we need it.
Oh yeah.
It's good to have Zavon back. And I hear the kind of restfulness in your voice, man, which is good to hear.
Yeah. And gonna hop over. Andrew is not here today. He cannot make the podcast. He is out doing his stuff. Probably see him next week or whenever he's on next. But returning to the podcast this week, once again, Allie, thank you for joining us again. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Like you said, last Monday of 2020. So kind of looking forward to that. Just finishing out the year. As well, my work's kind of slow this week, so taking it easy. Definitely attest to what you were saying about the holidays. I think we were both feeling exhausted after that. I think the day after Christmas, we stayed in our like pajamas all day and just rested. So, because we were going between our families and stuff, which is a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of taking it easy this week, recovering and seeing where we can go into the new year. I know I got some things I want to get accomplished this year. So I'm trying to go into the year with a, positive mindset.
Yeah. 2021 vision. Right, Zavon?
Sure.
No, it's
Wow.
hindsight 2020 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what us three, me, Zavon, Tyler, would joke about is in hindsight, it was funny when 2020 first started, everyone was making those great jokes about, this is our year.
Clear vision.
2020, clear vision. And so
2020, clear vision, clear mind, can't lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of flopped.
Now it's hindsight 2020.
Yeah,
we were all wrong.
Dead wrong.
Oh man. Well, thanks for everyone for joining in today, hopping around this little virtual table, since we can't actually hop around our table that we would normally do in person. So with that, I think I'm going to start with Zavon today. What are your thoughts on kind of the boundaries you have with people? Obviously friendships, relationships, whatever that might be. What are like deal breakers or, in your friendship or any of that? And like, where do you kind of draw the line with someone before you're just like, you know what? I'm done with you. I can't have you in my life. It's too toxic, too negative. Like, what's that line for you? And what are your boundaries there?
It's funny how we're talking about this today, because I kind of briefly talked about it with our good friend Amon earlier on a Zoom call. Let me start off saying, like, for me, it's hard for me to really passionately hate someone or cut them out of my life like completely. Like I know I've had like close friends in the past, like, do me dirty and all and whatnot, but at the same time I didn't like hold a grudge against them. It's like, yeah, I would have like, I guess, some kind of grudge, but not like complete like cancel culture. Like, I'm a person who firmly believes that if you deserve a second chance, I'll give you a second chance. But at the same time, like, I'm not what would I say? I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like, it's hard for me to hate someone, really. That's all I could say. Like, I've actually tried to like think about anyone in my life that I like truly hate, and there's really no one that I can think of off the top of my head. I just probably, I guess you could say, I have a high tolerance level and whatnot, or I just haven't really experienced someone like really stabbing me in the back, which comes to my next point. I think where I draw the line is it comes down to trust and integrity. Like, building trust takes time, obviously, and we all know that. For some folks, it's quicker, but for me, it takes a while for me to really warm up to folks, especially with me being a natural introvert. like we can build trust over the years, and we can have a strong bond. But as soon as like you really do something that really stabs me in the back, or hurts me, or even hurts those close to me, where it breaks the trust in that split second because of the choice you made or the choices you made, the lies you've told, that's when like I just don't want to. I just don't bother, and that also means I don't go out of my way to like shame them on like social media or talk shit about them throughout like the friend group. I don't say anything, That's just me. That's how I deal with folks like that. If I have to, I'm just like, it's whatever. I have to move on with my life. I'm not gonna hold on to like a grudge and hold it against folks and like weep throughout like a course of time, because like time is moving forward with or without me. So I'm just going to worry about myself and whatnot. And so it really comes down to trust and integrity at that point.
Yeah, I heard you bring up a good point there too with this whole cancel culture. I know a lot of people nowadays with social media, if somebody does someone wrong, they go into that immediate cancel culture. They're like, they got to blast them on everything, and I think, yeah, obviously there are better ways to do that. You don't have to go onto Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, anything, and just be like, and like air out all the dirty laundry, like it's just
100%.
So crazy.
And we see that a lot, especially when it comes to like, especially these days, we've seen it a lot throughout 2020, is like, especially like political opinions. If someone holds a political opinion that's different from like the masses, they will do those people will do everything they can to pretty much dox them, scrutinize their entire like social media platform, look for old tweets and whatnot, call them out, shame them, put their career in jeopardy and whatnot, and slander them, do whatever they can to ruin their lives. And it's just this sanctimonious vibe and persona of these people that they think they're better than everyone. They believe they're right, so they pretty much act as like the judge and the executioner, metaphorically speaking, of course, to go out of their way to pretty much ruin the lives of these people and to cancel them, quote unquote. But the truth is like, are you any perfect? Are you? Does that make you any better of a person to do that? Because I can guarantee you, if everyone's imperfections and flaws and mistakes that they've made throughout their lives are all exposed in some kind of huge media, whatever that may be, everyone would be canceled to some degree, to some capacity. Everyone would be canceled out of someone's life to some degree, to some capacity. And we've seen a lot of that, especially not just like within the realm of like social media and the overall public, but with like close friends and family members. Like I know folks who cut ties with their family because of their views, their opinions, their beliefs and whatnot. It's like, I don't know what kind of rhetoric is going around these days and what's being taught in the schools, family culture in general. But like at least I was taught growing up, like respect people for like their different beliefs, opinions, values, and whatnot, and just learn to have like civil dialogue with them, because that's how you build the relationships and whatnot, and to see things through multiple lenses, different perspectives, and that's how you learn. These days, it seems like that's not the case anymore. If you believe something different, you see something different and whatnot, you're persona non grata at that point. So, I mean, I digress, but it goes back to like those boundaries with relationships and what determines having us cut ties from folks and burning bridges and whatnot. Me personally, I don't like the idea of like just canceling someone because of what they believe in, who they are as a person and whatnot. It really comes down to like your moral compass and trust and integrity that we build over time, and how well you hold up to your convictions and who you are as a person. So, yeah.
Not to put you on the spot, Zavon, but you're making great points, because you talk about how it takes a lot for you to cut someone off. It really comes down to, like you said, trust and integrity. They really have to break that. But, for our listeners and for us knowing you, you're really strong on your convictions. And so I was curious, if someone, let's say in whatever, this could be hypothetical, but you have a group of friends and maybe there's always that one person in that group of friends that always goes against your conviction. How would you create a boundary with that person? Hypothetically, or maybe it is a literal case.
Well, I mean, it depends what they do to go against my, beliefs, convictions, values, and whatnot, or my side of things in general. Because like, if it's like an opinion of theirs that opposes what I believe in, that's totally fine. Mad respect. If they are someone who, and like I know I have friends who are like this, but totally fine. I get it. Who are what I call like emotionally charged. So anything that you say or believe, anything that pretty much challenges or opposes what they believe in, what they firmly believe in, and they have like moral superiority in, or they believe that they have moral superiority in, they will pretty much blast you with all these like reckless emotions and whatnot. And I tend to not put up with it because number one, I don't like arguing, and number two, it's something not worth arguing about, because in the end, their emotions will. Them being emotionally charged people, they will try to find every way to justify how they react and to berate you, whatever they do with their aggression, just to get you to put themselves on a pedestal above your viewpoints and whatnot. So it really depends on how they go against, whether it's the things I say, do, believe, or the person who I am. Because I don't see myself above people. I see myself on an equal playing field as everyone else. It just comes to having that respect, that mutual respect, to agree without the disrespect between me and other folks. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm touching up on what you were thinking about, Stephen, in regards to someone being against me, but it depends.
Maybe not against you, but it sounds like if you were, I think going back to the original question of how do you set boundaries, if we were at a party and there was somebody there that you just know is, like you said, emotionally charged, that always tries to will their perspective on other people. It sounds like for how you set the boundaries, you just won't entertain them. It just sounds like you'll just be like, you know what, I have a mutual respect for you. However, but in terms of our difference in convictions and beliefs, I'm just not going to entertain you. So that's how you set a boundary with that one person.
Oh yeah, it essentially, what I do is I read how they respond or react. Mm-hmm. If they react emotionally charged, then I know I cannot have a rational discussion with them. Mm-hmm. If I feel like they come out to be more rational, very open-minded, then I know I can have that civil discussion, that discourse with them, and that they're worth talking to. Like, no offense to those who are emotionally charged, I understand that. Like, if someone's emotionally charged and they just come at me with like word vomit and whatnot, just spilling it all over, I just sit there and listen. That's mm-hmm. how I am as an introvert. That's how I am as a person. I just listen. I'll validate that what they're feeling. It's like, you are entitled to feel whatever you want to feel. I may not agree with how you react and how you respond, or I may not agree with what you believe in, but what you're feeling, I get it. I understand it. I can see why you can be frustrated, sad, depressed, and whatnot. Like, I'm here to listen to you at that point, but I'm not going to entertain it and like say, oh, everything you're saying is true. Everything you're saying, I agree with. I'm just not going to say that, because I may agree with it, may not agree with it. So, but at the end of the day, I just want to listen first, hear them out, and pretty much what I say, kind of get a feel for the kind of person they are, or if I already know them, if I've known them previously, then I know what to expect. So,
yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, it's definitely a vibe thing. And if I could bounce off that, I kind of agree with Zavon. Take for the example again, if I was to be at a party, whether my own friends or maybe with a mix of different people who I haven't met yet, it's about reading the vibe of the room and kind of just adapting per se. There might be that one person that is very extroverted or very self-imposing on other people. I don't know, for whatever reason, they have to feel intimidated when they have a few drinks in them or whatever. But from personal experience, I always tend to not entertain them. I tend to walk into a room and just be as mutually respectful to everyone as much as I can, but not ever trying to be the alpha dog, but just being who I am and easygoing with everyone, including that person who wants to be intimidating, but not going to entertain them. If anything, I will kind of like be like Zavon, hear them out, and kind of try to suck them into a mutual respectability instead of a war of words or a war of intimidation, because it's not worth it. I have better things to do. I didn't come to this party to be an alpha and to start a fight with someone. That's never my goal at the end of the night. And so in terms of boundaries with strangers or with people, especially in a close setting like that, yeah, I choose to feel the vibe of the room and to really adapt as safely as possible, and try to draw boundaries with them. Because at a party with, when people are hyped up or, have influences in their blood, that's not the best place to rile people up. It's one of those places where you check the vibe of the room and how do you make it as a safe setting for yourself and for everyone else. But in terms of boundaries, that for me, I like to go with the old, saying that sometimes when you're drunk speaking, sometimes there's truth involved in that. And so if you're naturally like that, aggressive, when, under the influence, what does that say about you when you're not under the influence? And so for me, that kind of makes me outside of that party weary about gaining your trust, So, because, as I realize as I get older, I really don't have that much fucks to give the more and more I get older. And as you guys know me, I tend to be as caring as possible. But even though I'm caring, where I'll listen and talk to you and give you as best as I can, unbiased but empowering advice, where I try to leave it for you to make your own decision. I don't have the patience to, because I got my own goals and dreams I got to reach too, and so it's one of those things where my boundaries, I don't give too many fucks anymore, and excuse my language, but that's the best way I could say it is I care for family and friends, but at the end of the day, my boundary is, look, I'm going to give you my mutual respect, my love, my trust. But at the end of the day, I can't hold your hand. I got my own hand to hold because I got my own demons to fight. I know you got your own demons to fight as well. So in spirit, we're supporting each other. But my boundaries is, look, you got to take care of your own shit. I got to take care of mine. But don't get it wrong as like I don't care. It's just more of like, hey, we got to go off on our own journey. That's the only best thing that we could do as best service to each other. So boundaries wise, this goes both ways. No matter how kind of a person you are, or no matter how much of an asshole you are, my boundary is that I got to respect your own battles and your own journey. And because that's how I would want to be treated. If I ask for help, that's another thing. If you're asking for help, that's another thing. But I'm not going to go out of my way to see it through that you do well, because all I can give you is my trust that you're going to do well. And I hope that you trust me in return, because I got my own thing to deal with, Does that make sense? I know it's kind of like a rant, but it's more of like, hey, like, I'm getting older. I can't give that many fucks, like it's either you're going to take care of yourself, I'm not going to take care of you, kind of thing, you know, because I got to take care of myself. So, and so that's my boundaries for all involved, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Before I was gonna piggyback off of that, but Allie, do you have anything to kind of add to that?
No, I think both Zavon and Steven, you guys made really good points. I think boundaries are important to know, like what your limits are too as a person. I know, like myself, if I know a situation might go south or like it could cause tension in any way to anyone, like I would just remove myself from the situation because I don't ever want to be like the cause of something or like make people uncomfortable if I'm in a situation. So I know for me, I definitely have the boundary, emotional boundary, I guess, because I don't want to cause myself also like anxiety or like any pressure in that regard. So I'll just choose like not to go to things if they make me uncomfortable. And like knowing that about myself, I'm okay with missing out on things. I definitely don't have FOMO in that regard about situations because I'm cool with staying home. So I have that boundary for myself in that regard. I know with friendships, I'm kind of the opposite of like Zavon was talking about how over the years, you know, you gain that trust and build that trust and give people second chances. When I meet you, like I'll give you trust like right away because you haven't proven me otherwise. Um, and it's kind of just that like trust, like, hey, I'm gonna benefit of the doubt. You're a good person. Like, here's my trust. And then it's slowly, if you start to do things that chip away at that, or we just don't like vibe or something's off that I don't like, then it slowly starts to go away. And I realize, okay, maybe that's not a person who I need in my circle or to, you know, be with me in life and follow me on my journey as well. So I kind of like give you the benefit of the doubt, but if you start to mess it up, then it is what it is. But yeah, that's kind of how I approach meeting new people or friendships, things like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think respect and trust is always earned, you know, and I'm kind of the same way from how I meet you and how I get to know you, without a shadow of a doubt. You know, I'm trying to see the good in you no matter what. So you always have my trust and respect out from the offset. But yeah, I'm kind of with Ali. I'm kind of the opposite of Zavon too. Going back to my rant about giving less fucks now, it's like if I immediately see that it's not worth my time to continue our friendship, or I feel like I need to set more boundaries with you in general. Um, I mean, it's not really a chance. It's not like I'm throwing you to the literal wolves. It's more of me saying, like, man, as you get older, you know, I have a smaller and smaller circle. There's people that I love unconditionally. I'm not gonna, you know, give my time to make it work. On the flip side, there are some good friends that I feel like are worth keeping in touch. But however, I got my own daily battles to face. There's things that I'm working on to grow for myself, whether it's visible or not, because, you know, I know that's my own battle. I don't need to share it with everyone. I'm open about it, but, you know, if you don't know about it, you know, I'm not going to go out of my way to tell you just so that I could reflect it. But the type of friendship that I always value is the one where if I haven't spoken to you in years, but when we meet each other again and we pick it off as if we haven't seen each other, or if we just talked to each other yesterday, those are the best friendships I value, and I hope that is the mutual respect that we all have. But you know, it's one of those things. Look, like um, uh, the older I get, and I keep saying this, and I know we're not all that much older, you know, compared to old, but let's say the wiser we get. Let's say that the wiser we get in age, the more that I start to realize that look, we all live in our own certain bubble. No matter if you're living with a significant other or anyone else, we all have this bubble. And just because, you have time for certain things, or because not everyone lives in your world, that's what I'm trying to say. Right. So for me, I like to be to myself because I have things that, that I'm just kind of growing for myself. So it's one of those things. It's really difficult for me. I'm getting better throughout the years because sometimes speaking up and speaking out is a good trait, especially to people you love, whether that's friends or family, because sometimes you can't just be quiet all the time. But at the same time, my boundaries is like, I don't have FOMO either. If I feel like staying home, I think that's always my best choice.
Yeah. Boundaries too are like, it's always easier to establish boundaries with strangers and people you don't know. It gets harder as you get closer to your circle. Like establishing boundaries with a significant other or family member, maybe. So it gets harder, and it's harder to identify too, like maybe when someone closer to you is not good for your life, or they're a toxic person in your life, or potentially have toxic traits. So
Yeah, I think everyone brings up some good points there. I think as we get wiser, older, however you want to look at it, our circle grows smaller for sure, absolutely. I think I take that approach, same approach. It's kind of like innocent until proven guilty. For me, you have almost an instant like, here's a little penny of trust to you. Let's try to, or a seed rather. That's a better way to put it. A seed of trust. And if you can plant that and we can grow that together, then awesome. If you don't, you can plant it, don't water it, it dies. Well, then, I gave it to you up the front. But I think it's one of those things like I usually don't try to cancel people completely out of my life unless they go to an extreme measure of breaking trust or whatever that may be. So I wanted to kind of jump into just kind of piggyback off of this conversation. I know we were kind of talking about just, people at parties or friends or whatever that might be. But let's kind of like look at it in the perspective of like a loved one, a dearly beloved one. Kind of that unconditional love. These might be people that you are in a relationship with, or these are people that you have built trust with over years. You could know them for 20 plus years. They know you like the back of their hand. They know everything about you. You guys have shared every possible detail with one another. All of that love, that level of love is what we're talking about here. And my question is, what's the boundary of, or what boundaries do you guys have kind of set in regards to someone like that? Like, how far are you willing to go for the people that you love unconditionally? It's really testing the unconditional love aspect, but how far are you willing to go? Like, say, I don't know, you're married to the love of your life or whatever it may be, you're friends for 34 years or something. And like I said, these people, they're your kind of your backbone. What if they rob a store, rob a jewelry store, they accidentally kill somebody, or maybe they don't accidentally kill somebody and they just straight up murder them or something? What is your boundary there for like, okay, I got your back still. Okay, maybe I'll turn a blind eye, but they're probably going to come to you for help. What's your boundary there? Do you go out of your way and try to help this person, or do you turn them in, kind of thing? You know what I'm saying? So like, what is that goes back to your moral compass? You know what I'm saying? Kind of like Zavon mentioned earlier, your moral compass there. This is the person that you would essentially, in quotes I'm putting up for the people that aren't watching a video, go to the grave for this person, like ride or die. So like, what is the limit of your ride or die in that situation? Anyone can hop in first.
just tell me where to hide the body. That's all. That's all. No. That one, oh, that's hard because obviously super hypothetical. My immediate family, like we're all so close. Like we got each other's backs no matter what. Like I'm very fortunate. My siblings are some of my best friends. So that would be hard. I mean, and we've helped each other out of some situations or kept things quiet from our parents to, have each other's back. But I'm also someone who can't break rules easily. And like I like to follow the rules. So if we're talking like legal things, I'd probably, I'd still have their back, but it would be something of like, all right, well, I'll get you the best defense out there. I'm going to help you get through this, but I would have to say you got to plead guilty kind of thing and then help them out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a difficult thing. I mean, let's say, it was just like a cold, hard murder, and it came, honestly, I'm just trying to think of the most extreme, and they came to me for help. It's like, I mean, honestly, I got to like negotiate with them, like in a sense where it's like, look, what am I supposed to do? Like, did you even know what you did? It's like, it's going to be hard because it's like, all right, the best thing for them to do is, like to turn them in, but it's hard because let's say like they were like the most giving person for the rest of their life, and then all of a sudden they just, I don't know, cold hard murder. It's really hard because one, it would probably put me into a shock where I'm like, why'd you do it? Did you have a legitimate reason? Was it self-defense? Like, I'll at least give them the benefit of the doubt of why they did what they did. But then again, my boundaries, and I know it's easier said than done, but this goes back to my how I am, is like, you got to figure it out. You can't drag me into this because it's honestly, you put yourself into this. What am I supposed to do? Like, like the best I can do is give you an hour head start to run across the to Canada. I don't know. Like that's the best I can do for you. But because an hour is at least for me to recover from my shock of like, did you really do this? Because it's like, I mean, I feel like legitimately, that's how I would respond. It's like give you the benefit of doubt first, be in shock, but at the same time, like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? I'm not going to touch that dead body. I'm not going to help you hide it. The best I can do is give you an hour head start, but I'm probably going to, I don't know, maybe not phone it in, but give you an hour head start to just get the hell out of my house, or, just, it's very hard to figure out because, it's hard.
Well, there's personal accountability. Like everyone makes their own choices.
Right.
And it's like, talking about boundaries, it's like, are you supposed to let yourself fall for somebody else's choices?
Right.
And their actions? Like there is a sense of self-preservation, like at that point, like what we're talking about, which is kind of the heart of the question. It's like, you have to save yourself before you like let somebody drag you down kind of thing.
Right. And so I don't know, part of me, I mean, I think about these things, these scenarios, because, humans are so unpredictable, but predictable at the same time, part of me, it's like, look, let me get the strap first, and you stand on the other side of the door while we have this conversation. Cause I don't know if you're going to turn on me next, I got to protect myself and my family. Cause look, I'm giving you a head start, but who knows? Maybe you're like, you read that as like, I'm going to turn you in. So you're going to kill me next. I don't know. But at the end of the day, what am I supposed to do? And it's kind of I know I'm kind of saying that in a joking way, but honestly, boundary wise, we all make our own choices. I love my parents to death. I love my brother, even my significant other, but at the end of the day, if they made that choice, it's like, really, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, You know, you made this choice. The best I can do is give you a head start, honestly. Whether that's my parents or whatever, like you made that choice, you know. Um, and yeah, it's hard. It's easier said than done, but honestly, it doesn't matter who it is. I think that's just kind of ingrained in my personality, where it's like I, I've always grown up with that boundary. And so part of me, it's like, yeah, even if you've done a hard crime, it's like, you got to figure it out. I mean, I might discuss it with you and be like, well, what can I do reasonably? But other than that, it's hard for me to accept him back in my life. You know what I mean? I might, send you a Christmas card every other year from wherever you are in Mexico, but it's hard for me to be like, yeah, open doors, come home whenever you want. It's yeah, that's my boundaries for that stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. Kind of tie your hands,
Yeah.
Come to a situation like that, it's kind of hard. Same goes for like, if it's family, obviously it's going to be a little bit difficult. What if, in the future, what if it's your kid, like you raised them to be right and they made that one mistake? Like who the heck knows how they got into it? But like, do you bail them out? Like, I don't know, man. I can try to help. I think that's the word, like the crazy scenario. It's like if this is your kid and they've had like a clean sheet like their entire life growing up, and then like they just happen to be wrong place, wrong time or something. But it's on them at that point. Like they had to make a decision. That's the decision they went with. I don't know why murder would be that decision, but
yeah.
I mean, parents go to jail for their kids all the time, or like, try and cover it up for their kids.
I
do things for their kids all the time.
Yeah. I think Tyler brought up a good point. If it was kids, I still stand by what I just said, like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? But however, though, you brought up a good point. So let me rephrase kind of like my rant. If you were if you were someone that I've known for years, like my backbone, you always done good. And then all of a sudden you're in the wrong place, wrong time, or I don't know, somehow you just showed up my door and was like, hey, I need help. I just murdered someone. I think while I'm in shock, the best thing I could still do is to at least hear your side of the story, whether you lied to me or not. I think the least I can do is hear you out and give you that benefit of the doubt. If my kid was like, look, it was self-defense, whether that's true or not, the best I could do is give them that benefit of the doubt. Okay. But at the end of the day, it's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, for me, what I'm going to do is, look, I believe your story. So if I trust you, then I'm, like Ali said, I'm going to find the best lawyer for you. We're going to win this then if that's the case. But if you're going to be like, no, we don't need that. I just need to hide this dead body or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm not. You do that. But to rephrase it, it's not like I'm just going to cut them off. I at least will give you the benefit of doubt. But we got to reasonably, if you want me to help you, it has to be really reasonable. Because other than that, I'm just going to be your second body, because I'm going to go out guns blazing. If you killed someone cold blooded, you're going to have to, go through me next. Because I would rather, okay, I wouldn't, but you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't, Yeah. Even if it was my own kid, I feel like, it's easier said than done. For us in this room right now, we all don't have kids, but I think it would still stand where I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? Besides give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Obviously all hypothetical, but I think, that's just one of those things. It's kind of an extract view of it, and just kind of like, just kind of seeing what you guys would say. Zvon, how about you?
Ooh, that is definitely a tough one. Just obviously depends on the person, the relationship I have with them, and the person they are, as well as their actions throughout life. Because, many times, whether we fall in love or we'll just end up deeply connected with someone in regards to like a strong friendship, strong relationship in general, it's normally we have an interest and a liking for that person of who they are, right? So I want to use an analogy here, so bear with me, folks, if you're not cultured in the realm of Star Wars. But Obi-Wan trains Anakin, and Anakin is pretty much by Obi-Wan's side in the Jedi way and teachings for pretty much like his entire childhood up until like he's an adult. And Obi-Wan loved Anakin as a brother. He loved him for who he was and who he's grown to be. But of course, Anakin goes down a dark path, and Obi-Wan in the end has to fight him and pretty much pretty much oust him in a way, and stop him from doing the things he's doing. But Obi-Wan really wasn't fighting Anakin at that part. He was fighting Vader. That was a completely different person. So I'm trying to like wrap my head around seeing it in that sense. It's like if I raised a kid, and I know like I'm not a father yet, but I'd love to be someday. I know I'm gonna be holding myself accountable and responsible to raise my kid or kids to be strong, well thought out, well educated, intelligent human beings who have strong morals and principles and convictions and whatnot, and that they grow to be their own person as individuals. If they turn out to be a cold-blooded killer in the future, that's not the kid I raised. Like if something just snaps, I don't know. Like if they choose to go down like a path when they're like an adult, they move out, and they like I see them on the news like they murdered like 10 people. Like similar along the same lines as Steven said. What the hell am I supposed to do? But that's not the kid I raised. That's not the kid who I loved and cherished from childhood, till now. It's crazy, right? Because you have to think about your instinctive moral compass, your rational moral compass, as well as your emotional moral compass. I don't know if emotional is the right word, but like in terms of like your attachment to things, especially if it's like a relationship, a loved one, whatnot. So I guess in that sense, if one of my kids turns out to be like some criminal in the future, like, and they choose to do so, that's on them. They have to be held accountable. And that's something I'm going to be coaching my kids on, is accountability and owning up your choices, whether it's mistakes or choices that help you succeed. Obviously, I hope for the latter, but they are going to make mistakes. It depends on the mistake that I will happily support them in. But if it's anything of like a higher extremity, like murder, abuse, violence, stuff like that, I cannot associate with them. Like I'll be very disappointed. Obviously, I'll be very disappointed. It's like, it's like, how the hell did this happen? And at the same time, I will have a guilty conscience. I'm like, was I responsible for this? Was I responsible in some aspect or some capacity that influenced them to make that choice? I obviously hope not. But if something really snapped with them to make said convictions of the immoral choices that they made, then that's on them. It's clearly on them. So that's tough. It really is tough. It makes me think of like those RPG games. And like another thing I'm going to be referring to because I've been playing it recently, Cyberpunk 2077. It's one of those RPG games where you have to make choices, and like obviously the moral compass is spinning because whatever choice you make will influence like the outcome of the event and the storyline and how the storyline advances and stuff like that. It's the same thing with real life, right? And that's why they call it a role-playing game. So it's like if you have a loved one and we're in a zombie apocalypse and they turn into a zombie, it's like you got to shoot them, right? That's the rational decision, right? Or else like they could go out and infecting other folks. But
or lock them up.
Your emotional, see, and that comes down to the emotional moral compass, right? It's like, I still love this person.
Right.
But then like someone else could jump in. It's like Zavon, that's not the person you love that anymore. That's not them. They're a zombie. You got to kill them. Or lock them up as a pet, whatever. But and there are movies like I think it's Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead
has that.
Yeah.
I think that's where I got the example from. Yeah, Shaun of the Dead. So it's tough, right? And I think that's also why, like, if you want to talk about like romantic relationships and marriages fail, is because folks fall in love with someone, with that person, but then over time, like they change to be someone else, and then like they got to split up because they did not fall in love with that person that they thought they were, or that who they hope to be, if that makes sense. So.
Yeah, I mean they got that TV show, man. That's what, Killer Couples or whatever it is.
Something like that. Oh yeah.
I know, it's crazy. I know, and yeah, to your zombie point too, like even Michonne in Walking Dead, both of her, she had two pets that just kind of trailed with her, cut off their arms and ripped out their teeth so they couldn't infect other people. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's an emotional thing. Obviously, I think I'm with Zavon in a lot of kind of what he just said, as far as like, if you're in my house, then we're going to battle. If this is something that like my child did, but if I raised you and you moved out and did your own thing and you came to me, like, yes, shock, obviously would be the biggest thing there. Hear your side of the story, but otherwise, I'm like, sorry, man, you're on your own. Sorry, you made your choice. You can go do whatever you need to do at that point. Try to help them out as much as I can. But yeah, it's kind of crazy if you're looking at it as a kid, or like if your parents randomly did it, all of a sudden, like one of your parents snapped, and I don't know, that's a different beast there. Because if it was my parent, I don't know, probably same situation, but still hard, I think. But yeah, friends too, like, it's one of those things. I think, yeah, like, all right, yeah, that's cool. I can't really do anything for you. I don't know what you want me to do. I know we have been tight, but I mean, this is one of those things that I cannot help you with. And don't get me wrong, growing up,
right, so
what's up?
I was gonna say, can I cut in with? I don't. If we have a little bit of time,
Yeah,
I got a question. This one's really tough. I don't even have an answer for it, but since we're on the topic of going from zombies to Star Wars and all that stuff. Now, so far, all of our answers was related to assuming that the person, the loved one who did something, was thinking rationally or of their own accord. Now, this is me watching too many horror movies. What if you had a kid, 3-4 years old, just growing up in the world, and they just had a lust for killing animals? You just find them killing animals. What would you do in that instance? Would you be like, I'm going to lock you up at a mental ward, or take you to a psychiatrist, which may in turn have them distrust you because, they see it as you like not trusting them and you imprisoning them? Or like, do you, I don't know, try to continue to grow their confidence, but in turn telling them that, it's not right to feed off the, you know what I mean? It's very difficult. That is a very gruesome example, but I wanted to kind of be like, what if it's someone who's just not really rational yet? They're 3 to 4 years old, maybe, still learning about the world. But how do you tell them that they're wrong?
So like you try and like keep raising them, and hopefully it like, it's a phase.
Pretty much, yeah.
Kind of thing. I've watched so many crime shows though, like where, the kids that's how they start. Yeah. And then they just like, it gets worse because like there's actually like something like miswired in their brain kind of thing.
Right.
Like sociopaths are born.
Yeah, no, and that's why I'm kind of going at that. But I mean, I've seen cases too. I don't know where I read this, or maybe it was a Criminal Minds episode. I don't know, but there was also where someone nurtured that kid, but to teach them that it's okay to follow your urges. No, you know what? Maybe this is a Dexter thing. Maybe it was from Dexter.
It's one
But
of
you know
them.
how, like, have you guys seen Dexter?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ellie, is it fun?
Nope.
You haven't seen Dexter? Oh, it's
Yeah, I've
such
seen
an
a few
awesome show.
episodes. I heard
I
it's,
love
isn't
Dexter.
it coming back, or is it back?
I
already?
heard.
don't know.
I heard.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
heard they were gonna basically do one last season with the same characters to basically make a better ending. But we'll get into that later. Allie, if you love crime shows, if you love Criminal Minds, Law and Order, Dexter is such a equivalent but refreshing twist on this type of murder thing. Not to ruin it, I mean, the plot of Dexter is that he was a psychopath growing up. His father, I think it was his father, somebody who was his parent or guardian, realized that he had a lust for, or he had all the signs of becoming a psychopath in the future. But instead of restricting him, his guardian basically taught him to use it for good. So basically, his potential to be a psychopath, use that for good. So in his mind, what he considered good was he was a serial killer in the future, but he killed only bad guys, people who did really bad harm to others.
Almost
He
like
was a serial
vigilante.
killer. Yes. So basically, he became a serial killer for bad guys. I think you'll love Dexter. It's such an awesome show. Like, I didn't think that I would get into a show like that, but I loved it. But anyways, so that kind of begs the question, like, if that was your kid, do you nurture them in that way? Or do you know, it's really hard to answer.
Yeah.
We can use all these TV shows and shows that we watch to kind of do what ifs, but for me, I don't know. I guess I kind of answered my own question. It's easier said than done, but I don't know. Would it be beneficial to treat him like the next Dexter? But even though Dexter is a fictional character, but is that one way to kind of hypothetically nurture your child and say, like, hey, what you're doing is not normal, but like, it is okay as long as you see that you shouldn't harm, or you try to instill a moral compass into them.
I feel like this could be like a whole episode in itself, like talking about, like, kids and like how you have to acknowledge
and their psychology.
Yeah. I mean, but for me, it kind of like this, just boundary wise as a person too, you have to know that you don't know everything and you can't do everything maybe by yourself. And so it's like, if you have a kid who has a problem, like, it's okay to admit that and say you need others to come in and help. And like, I think that's how I would approach that specific situation. Because like, you're one person, but the old saying, like, it takes a village to raise a child or anything. But in that particular case, it's okay to admit, like, hey, my child's not perfect. There's something going on, but I'm going to try everything in my power to do my best and make sure that it's okay, because they're still your kid. And like, obviously, you don't want bad things to happen to them or them to do bad things. So you have to admit that and then just try and get help and see what can happen.
Right.
This is so hypothetical and off
right,
the wall,
right,
but...
right. Very hypothetical. But I think you brought up a good point. It is true. From what I've seen, I don't have my own kids, but from my nieces and everyone, or nieces and nephews, or friends' kids, no matter how well off you are, it really takes a village to raise it. I think you brought up a good point. And so, it's all hypothetical, but I think if we were to have some sort of academical, that's not a word, academic,
Academical.
like an academic type of solution, not a solution, academic type of thing that can help us deal with that hypothetical situation is that it is okay to admit that there is a problem, and how can you get help, not to treat them, or maybe to treat, I don't know. Personally, for me, it's like I want them to grow to not feel like they are wrong. I don't, if it was my kid, I personally don't want them to grow up thinking that they are wrong or weird. From a moral perspective, yes, that is kind of weird. They just grew up having this lust to like kill animals. Sure. But I want them to grow up knowing that they can control it, or they can control themselves, I don't know. Maybe I'm not saying that correctly, but kind of going to what you were saying, Ali, that admitting that they need help or whatnot, but this is a whole nother topic, because we could easily say, well, what is right or wrong, so, but that's a whole nother topic. We're going truly down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Tune in next week for no.
Yeah. Tune in next week.
Yeah, because I mean, if you really think about it too, well, I was going to say, because you could look at it that direction, but it could also be your surroundings, your environment you're living in, like what's causing him to, or this child to do this. Is your place haunted? Is he being possessed by some sort of demon? This goes down that rabbit hole. I'm just saying, you bring in a seance, you bring in a shaman, you bring in an exorcist. Like, there's just so many roads this could go down.
Right, man.
Oh man,
is he astral projecting? You never know.
Yeah. Is someone telling him to do this? Who's his friend? Billy. He talks about Billy. Who's this?
Yeah. Let's not investigate our kid. Let's investigate all the other kids at the daycare. There's someone telling him this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our kids are never wrong.
You guys should. It's funny. I'm recommending this movie, but I haven't seen it. But I just know the general premise of it. It's directed by James Gunn. It's Brightburn. It's essentially that alternate Superman film, except it's like it juxtaposes the concept of the original Superman plot, but it's not like actually named after Superman. But essentially, like the parents, they raise the alien boy, and like he has like pretty much the same superpowers as Superman. However, he turns out to be like a killer. Like he has like a hunger to kill all living things and stuff. Yeah, and
I heard of that.
The parents are trying to cope with it, but then at the end they got to fight him because he's just unstoppable at that point. So, just this whole discussion around this particular question made me think about that movie in general.
That's a good point. Yeah, I haven't seen the movie, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it was like the what if superhero movie. What if like you said, the parents or someone else nurtured a potential superhero to do bad things instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but going back to the initial question, if I found out my kid was slaughtering animals, I'd be like, oh, so you like killing animals, and just like throw my kid in a cage with a lion and see how they do. And they have nothing but a chair between them. So.
See, that's a solution, though. If we go down the rabbit hole, there's so many ways we could deal with this.
You want to get rid of your moles or possums or anything on your property? Well, let me tell you, I got the kid.
Yeah. You nurture your kid to kill pests.
Yeah,
instead,
it's just a pesticide.
And make a killing out of it. So you say, hey, you know what? If you like killing animals, stick to killing animals, but bad animals, especially if people pay you for it, and make your own business out of it.
It's true.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I think that is going to be the question that wraps up our episode today. I think one of the things too, I know we mentioned games and Star Wars and zombies and everything, and just RPGs, Cyberpunk 2077. that Zavon mentioned. If you're really feeling like you need to get out there and make moral decisions because you're stuck inside, Cyberpunk, good game to play. You can also go way back into the vault and play games like Fable. Fable was a great game.
I still have that.
That's a great game. That really taught a lot of moral judgment calls when I was younger too. And then Life is Strange. That is that's one of those games. I got emotionally invested into that game, and I won't lie, there was a couple parts where I just didn't know what to do morally, and kind of makes you tear up a little bit because you're like, damn, I feel bad. I feel horrible now.
We're not sponsored, by the way.
We're not sponsored by any of these games. Would be great, but no. With that said, though, if you're feeling that way, go play those games. If not, whatever. But we do challenge you, just like every episode, our listeners, to take this question and, think about it yourselves. Bring it back to your friends, your families, your loved ones, and really kind of check in with them, check in with yourselves, talk about it, see where you guys are at. And, like we said at the beginning of the episode, 2020 is coming to an end. 2021 is right around the corner. You might be in the situation where you're trying to get rid of toxicity in your life. And there might be that friend or that person in your life that's a little bit toxic, and you're just trying to see what your boundaries are. So really think about it, drive it home, and yeah, just check in with yourself and your friends and family. And that's all you can do. This is our last episode of 2020 with Real Talk. We will be returning in 2021. We want to wish you a happy new year. Hope you all had a wonderful holiday season. And with that, we will catch you on the next one.